To extract the most amount of money out of Polkadot, we need to obviously follow a strict plan for 2025. And this video is that plan, at least what I personally am doing. And of course, you guys can go ahead and access the sheet I'm about to give you completely for free. First link down below. Now, yes, you've all read the title and seen the thumbnail. We're turning $10,000 into 1 million with Polkadot. Again, this isn't clickbait. This isn't me trying to grab your attention and show you something else. I'm going to deliver on the promise here. But of course, the one rule is you guys need to pay attention and give me the time to explain this in every which detail. So with that being said, let me now take your attention over to the screen here. And I want to show you something before we actually get into this chart. It's very, very important in regards to Polkadot here. I am loving this. Recent news shows that Gavin Wood, yes, the founder of Polkadot himself and one of the co-creators of Ethereum, now has decided to move away from this parachain type ecosystem Polkadot is well known for, and now move into something called block space. So you can rent block space from Polkadot now. You're not kind of establishing your own network and having to do it that way, which is cool because as this post mentions down the bottom here, let me explain it right. The introduction of block core time makes a significant milestone in the industry as block space is finally being traded as a true commodity, accessible and utilized as needed without the burden of managing a large chain. Now, for those of you who know, Polkadot is one of those very, very few, I think only Bitcoin and Polkadot are classified as not a security, basically a commodity, right? And so this, I think, falls into that as well. It is now literally being able to trade as a commodity, at least from the resources the network provides, which of course is, core space or block space, right? This innovation levels the playing field for new teams by reducing barriers to entry and fostering innovation. The proposed changes hold the promise of transitioning DOT, which is Polkadot, of course, into more than just another token. It becomes the gateway for a massive influx of Web 2 businesses into Web 3. So any business, kind of like they were doing right now with the para threads, like pay as you go parachains, you can now do that with Polkadot, right? So none of it's like you got to go through an auction, win it based on who has the most amount of money. Of course, that would have been good for DOT because it would have taken DOT away for a while, at least a couple of years there. But this way, it's a lot more accessible to a lot more people, which is, of course, on the new roadmap now. DOT is evolving as a lot of these projects do. They evolve over time, which is why we can never crucify them for a long period of time. And so I definitely do think there is a lot of demand that can possibly come in here for DOT, not just in 2025, but the future, of course, as well. So this is the chart. Again, guys, completely free down below. I want you to use it. I want you to learn. And please, if you didn't mind, for that reason, drop a like on the video. Of course, I want to provide as much value as I possibly can to everyone watching. So let's start off here with the most important thing. To actually know when we need to buy and when to sell, when it's actually viable at all on any project, we have to, of course, know roughly the price predictions. Now, this will definitely change. And as you're going to go through the course of this channel, you're going to see multiple times now. Actually, Polkadot's a prime example of this. I'm going to be changing my minimum and maximum levels because you definitely have to. Like traders do, you can't just pick a level and go with it, or pick a narrative and run with it, because things do change. And as times evolve, you've got to go through multiple times here, reevaluate, and of course, change your MO if need be. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second, of course. So in my opinion here, we're going to see a minimum of $25 in 2025 on Polkadot, which is a $38 billion market cap, right up to a $113 billion market cap, and the price being $75. Now, I want to say, of course, I'm not just multiplying the price or multiplying the market cap here. I'm also factoring in inflation, which a lot of people don't do. So of course, Polkadot has a 10% max year-on-year inflation. It does vary depending on how much is staked in the network, but of course we have to go with worst case situation here. So starting from May 2021, which is when the initial 1 billion tokens were in circulation here, which was the initial distribution of tokens, what we're going to do is factor in an extra 500 million, which is again 10% year-on-year inflation. Now this of course takes it just past 2025, but we're of course going to work off the worst case. So that's kind of how I come up with these numbers over here, factoring in of course how much demand there might be in terms of market cap versus the supply. Of course, that's where we get the $25.75. Now I think it can definitely blow past $113 billion market cap. To be honest with you, wouldn't surprise me if that goes to over $100. But of course, I think this max is a reasonable max, okay? And if you take your money out at this max, you're not going to be sad at all. Okay, we'll talk about why. So I'd like to briefly interrupt this program with a very special announcement. Guys, if you wanted to support all the hard work I put into making these videos for you, then there's 2 links down below I'm going to suggest you take a look at. The first is a sign up link to BitGet, which is one of the best exchanges in the space. These guys have a $300 million user protection fund and proof of reserve. So they're one of the safest exchanges and is the one I personally use for all my crypto investments. And for you non-traders out there, for you guys guys like me who prefer to invest and acquire the most important information and from the most reputable sources, then Token Metrics have also sponsored this channel, guys. They've offered you guys a free subscription to their basic plan, which is typically worth $20 a month or basically $200 a year. So please, if you take your investing seriously and want the most up-to-date information, go check out the links down below, guys. I've got you covered, and thank you for supporting me. Now, with that said, back to the video. 1K invested in DOT right now is, equivalent to 200 tokens. And 200 tokens, if you multiply this, just for the rough figure, because I know a lot of you guys aren't going to have 10K, even though we're going to use that example in a minute. So this is going to give you some idea, right? So in 2025, wouldn't surprise me if at minimum you make 5,000, or if you hold up to the maximum here, 15,000. So we aren't talking about massive numbers, but that's because the market cap's already $6.1 billion. So it's on the high side, probably classified as a blue cap to many people. So what I'm doing is ladder selling my position from $25 and getting tighter, constricting that right up to $75. So I'm going to go up in increments of $10 multiple times, and then get shorter and shorter and shorter, $5, $2.50, so on and so forth. You'll see in just a second, okay? But of course, for those who don't know, now I'm not going to spend much time on this because I pretty much go over this in all my sort of price prediction videos, basically. And that is, of course, understanding your percentages, which of course you have access to the sheet. So you guys can go ahead and read this if you haven't seen those videos I've made explaining it before. And of course, what we're going to do here is combine the best of dollar cost averaging and ladder selling, which will give us the most amount of profits. Yes, it's true, in the safest possible way, of course. The only way you beat this is if you perfectly time the bottom and perfectly time the top, which I don't think anyone in the history of investing or trading has ever done, okay? So all we want to do is basically buy on the way down, and then as we can, when the market moves sideways, as you can see here, we want to be, of course, owning those tokens, and then when we go to sell at strategic levels, which of course, again, is what I'm going to show you today. And just as a rough idea, when do we buy? Well, we buy when there's a dip in the market, of course, or there's FUD on the particular project. When do we sell? Pretty well opposite, right? So we sell when narratives pop off, like layer 0 narratives or layer 1 narratives for Polkadot. Overall market sentiment is quite up, and so is Polkadot's price. There's high fear, there's high greed in the markets rather, and your price targets have been met. That's pretty much it. We've got to become a robot, guys. So here is spilling the beans. This is my strategy. I know this looks quite overwhelming. I'm not going to lie to you. This looks kind of crazy. We're going to go over a much more simple example, which is this one down here, that a lot of you guys can definitely follow. It's pretty much like just copy and paste. This one here will definitely need to be changed here and there as the price of Polkadot fluctuates, or goes down, of course, as well. So what we're going to do here is, again, sell at $10, $5, $2.50, and $1 increments at different levels, of course. Now, to put some numbers on this, just to show you guys what we're talking about here, right? So back in 2021, this is Polkadot's chart. We had the global market cap at about $2.9 trillion, mostly retail speculation, of course, and pretty much roughly around the peak here. Polkadot maxed out at $55, very, very big wick, okay? And the market cap was about $52 billion, okay? So to put some ideas of how significant inflation can really dilute this, I'm going to show you why in just a second. $25 and had a market cap of about 24 billion. So basically, whatever the price was, we had about a couple billion less in terms of the market cap size equivalent and the ratio. So look at this. If we were to get to $25 again in the next bull run, again, accounting for inflation, accounting for those extra tokens in circulation, instead of hitting a 24 billion market cap, we're going to have to hit a $38 billion market cap, significantly higher because inflation. Okay, there's more tokens out there. Likewise, $55, we're not going to have to hit $52 billion. We're going to have to hit $83 billion. So that's about a 20 or 30 billion, actually $31 billion increase, significantly more, okay? And this is why people say it's hard for a project to sometimes reach its all-time high again because of that mass amount of inflation. So I definitely factor that in over here. Of course, I think it can definitely go higher. Again, I think it could go even above $100. We just are going to have more money in the market, So as I say over here, I think a very comfortable level is 6 trillion, which is pretty much double what we had over here. We're going to have much more in the market, right? So we're going to have more explosion. Could even be more than that, okay? And so what I'm doing here is essentially assessing all of these different things. I'm assessing when is a good time to buy and sell based on whole numbers, based on trading, untrading, based on support and resistance levels, so on and so forth, okay? So what we've got here is take your initial investment out at the $25 level. In my opinion, $25, again, is the minimum I see it going to, and I am taking my initial investment out. So if we put $1,000 in, or in this case, we put 10,000 in today, I'm taking that out straight away. Boom, it's all out. So it's nothing but profit from here. And from here, if we have all of our tokens left, so at that point, we'd have a ratio about, so let's just say we bought in at about 1,000 tokens, we might have about 900 tokens left. So out of that 100% of 900 tokens, we're going to sell this incrementally, right? So it might go 20%, 20%, as I say, 15%, 15%, 10%, and then 10%, okay? And these numbers you'll see here aren't what I kind of showed before. What I said I was going to do before is go for, $10 increments, $5 increments to 50. So you might be thinking to yourself, Cohen, well, okay, so you're selling your initial investment down here at 25 bucks. So why don't you just do what you said in the strategy over here and sell at $35? Why are you now selling at a weird number, $33.50 for? What's the go there? Well, as we know, we don't want to be selling on these whole numbers. Yes, we should definitely be looking over here as well at support and resistance levels, and $35 is about one of those levels, okay? So definitely a little bit before at $33.50, okay? We want to be basically selling, at least in my opinion, 20%, and this is not financial advice, of course, and then 20% over here selling again. So bang, we've sold pretty much 40% already, but we've jumped up in $10 increments, okay? So up at about $43 here, we pretty well aren't in any sort of trading ranges. We do find a little bit of a support level here, and so that's why, of course, I'm going to sell 20%. If it was $45, again, that's a little bit sticky there because that's a psychological number. And then, of course, we come up. So now it's 15%, and now what we're doing is going up in $5 increments. So from $43.50 to $48.50, selling. As you can see, we're getting very close to that magic $55 number, which is the blow off top, which, again, typically we will see a little bit of resistance here, at least historically, right? And so what I actually do here is quite interesting, okay? So I sell 15% over here. So right now we've sold about 55% of our whole entire holdings, those 900 tokens, okay? And then what I'm going to do now is go to $52, okay? Well, why? Why not go to $53.50? That's a $5 increment jump. Why have you reduced even more? Well, the reason is because anywhere near that $55, anywhere near this mark over here, the top from the previous bull run, it's going to have massive amounts of resistance, massive. You're going to have so many different situations. You're going to have people from the last bull run buying up here at $50 just wanting to get out. They're going to have a sour taste about Polkadot in their mouth. They just want to get out. So they're going to do that, even before that. So what we're going to do is round down to $52 here and just be safe. And of course, we go up again here. So 10% again, we're going to go $2.50 increment now. So that is $54.50. So we're just trying to squeeze as much out as we can before it starts getting ugly. Now, of course, this can definitely change depending on the market. Of course, in 2024, on the halving, Polkadot might already be at $30. That to me is like, okay, well, these numbers are going to be blown up. We're going to push these numbers up much more, reevaluate, right? But of course, right now, I think this is a pretty good way to do it. And then from here, I'm going to start another 10%. So right now, we're at about 90% overall of our tokens sold. So that might mean we have about, about 75 tokens left. And then I'm going to hold the last 10% of those tokens. So that last 75 or so tokens for explosive potential. Rather, that's about 90 tokens, right? So hold about those 90 tokens here for explosive potential. And so, if obviously the price goes up from there, we can sell out, of course, at a large markup. We've made most of our money already. This is just kind of like the icing on the cake. And that 10% for me isn't too bad. If we hold on, or at least I hold on those tokens through the next bear market, like if I miss the mark completely and it just drops out from underneath us and never happens again, well, of course, I've got, a fair amount of tokens here ready for the next run. That's not really bad for me. 10% of what I had before, isn't that really damaging, and at least in my opinion, right? So that is one sort of idea here. And as I mentioned over here, so we want to reevaluate the strategy multiple times, at least 2 times over the course of the next 24 to 25 months, of course. So in my opinion, April 1st, which is going to be roughly the time of the halving, we need to reevaluate these price predictions, which is pretty much what this all is. And of course, because Polkadot and the overall sentiment might definitely change, and we need to do these at least a minimum of 6 months apart. So I've gone from the halving here, reevaluate, also over to February 1st, 2025, or about there. Essentially, when the market's picking up, when it's starting, and that'll give us a pretty good idea. We, of course, keep all these numbers somewhere safe so we can revert back to them, because we might find multiple times that this all plays out very similarly, which will give us a very good idea of when the price obviously needs to be, or when the tokens need to be sold, okay? So now we come down here to a very much so copy and paste, sort of exit plan, where this is pretty common, amongst most people, because it's very easy to do and it works, right? And so that's selling it 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. So same situation here, of course. We take initial investment out at $25. And so, of course, we might sell 25% of those. Let's just say, again, we have 900 tokens left over out of the initial 1,000. So we might sell at $33.50, 25%. Again, 25% at $43.50. Again, 25% at $52. Again, following that same mental strategy I said before, we've increased here $10. Over here, we've increased a little bit less than that. So of course, what we're going to do here is just plan for that massive possible resistance level. And then if we go up again, hey, we go up again, and I'm going to hold 25% of my tokens in this red section over here for that extra blow off top. We might not happen. Again, this might completely change. In 12 months time from now, or at least April next year, I might say to you, okay, this ain't going to work. We're definitely going to sell these other 25% of the tokens at a certain level at maybe $75, not 75%, $75. And so it all does depend. So I want to stress this to you guys. Yes, this is very good to follow, but you definitely do need to be reevaluating your plan. We're way too far off right now actually having a clear-cut plan for the bull market. It's just not going to stick. We have to have that trader's mentality of things can change on a dime. Again, we could have some sort of regulation in place, and the bull market might not actually happen for some reason. You know, the housing bubble might pop. We just don't know. All right. And so we come down here, the whole premise of the video, of course, turning $10,000 into, the $1 million. And so we come down here, and for the whole premise of the video, of course, turning $10,000 right now into 1 million. Well, of course, for a Polkadot, that might sound crazy. It's already at a $6.1 billion market cap. How do we do this? It's fairly simple. It's just compounding. And this is what I've talked about, so much on this channel. It's just compounding, okay, guys? So at the current price of $5, we buy $10,000 worth. Now, of course, some of you don't have that much money to just throw into the project, so this can be scaled down. You might want to do $5,000, $2,000, $1,000, $100, whatever it might be, but just understand it'll just work the same way. Obviously, you're making less money. So, of course, if we just bought as much DOT as we could today, which, by the way, $5 actually is a very good price, 2,000 DOT would be the outcome, okay? Now, of course, if we then go ahead and sold, this is obviously 2025 over here, we want to make sure that, of course, we're trying to, do it the best way possible and ladder sell. So, of course, if the max goes to $75, we might ladder sell out at a very safe but still high $50, okay? Which I think is definitely possible. That 2,000 DOT is now multiplied by 50, giving us $100,000 in profit. And so what we do now is, okay, so it's 2028, right? It's the next bear market, and DOT goes to $10. It drops down to $10, all right? It is what it is. Cool. Well, out of that $100,000, let's say we want to keep $5,000 for whatever we might want to be, right? Just have $5,000 on the side for safety. And so what we might do here is then reinvest the $95,000 back in a Polkadot, and therefore at $10, if we buy as much as we can for $95,000, we're buying 9,500 tokens. All right. Simple. So what do we do? Well, essentially we wait for the next bull market to happen, 2030, which might definitely be the very last bull market. Matter of fact, it might not even be a bull market. The prices just might eventually be going up and hit a point where, of course, the max might reach 125 for a period before it drops down lower. And of course, following the same principles, we might be able to sell an average of $100, giving us 950,000, and of course, so on and so forth. So all I mentioned down here is, of course, that these levels here, these pink levels, are the pretty much periods where you need to give yourself as a buffer to avoid capital gains tax. Very important. I've made multiple videos on that. I'll leave their links down below, of course. And so guys, this video is obviously available for you, right? Go ahead, use this sheet, read into it, especially read into these principles over here, because you definitely have to understand this. Just in general, right? It's just mandatory, non-negotiable, guys. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate every single one of you. If you have enjoyed, if you learned something new here, please drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new around here. I post 2 videos every single day, and most importantly, thank you. All right, talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.